I asked somebody, I said, yaar, why do I get all these small roles? अरे यार सुची तो सोती नहीं है ना इसलिए. People loved to hate this mother-in-law. They really loved to hate her because she was classy. She hated the daughters-in-law, but she loved her sons. She loved her husband. There was a beautiful love story between the older couple. The turmoil in her head for having to have given up a baby girl, all of that, it comes out despite her being a negative character. You understand? And I don't do, it's not that type of scariness.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Oh my God. Can we zoom in?
After the 12th grade, my parents said, Acha, what do you want as a present? I said, I want a nose job. And they're like, hey?
Also, it's really sad that women, they will trash talk the woman.
Yeah.
But with men, they'll still listen to the topic. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Decoding Quirks. I'm your host, Aditi. And today we have a fabulous guest with us, Suchitra Pillai. And today we're going to be talking about women in the industry. Pregnancy, let's talk about pregnancy because I think that's very important. Patriarchy, that's my favorite. That's my favorite topic. And mental health. Let's talk about mental health.
And characteristics and how you stay in a character and not stay in a character and how it doesn't affect your mental health and how you can be mad and how you can be completely sober.
Can you give the scary look? Okay, we're good to start. So I've also grown up in this generation where I've seen like Farida Jalal play like typical roles.
Yes.
And I've also believed like these are the women who play like the mother role or play like the mother-in-law role. And I'm just like, now when I've grown up, I understand that that could be a problem.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what that problem is? Because for me, it feels like maybe they don't get other opportunities.
Yeah, there's a big problem about being typecast. That's, that is for sure. It happens, whether you're young, old or anything. There was a point in my career where I was only seen as the bad mother-in-law, the bad aunt, the bad mommy, the bad masi, the bad chachi. Everything was bad. That was in the TV serials. That translated into the films after I got Dil Chahta Hai and played the bad girlfriend. Then I was I was the bitchy wife in fashion. Then I was the bitchy clothes designer in Page 3. So I was just like, hello, people, what? So I asked Madhur Bhandarkar once, I said, yaar, Madhur, you give me all these nice roles and all, but everyone you're giving me is this bitchy character, So he says, kya hai na Suchi, tu aise dikhti nahi hai. To jab role aisa hota hai, to thoda sa twist ho jata hai. So I said, how can I argue with that logic? I said, okay, thoda sa twist ho jata hai. But sometimes you don't see it, yourself, one doesn't see it, but people like that whole attitude. I used to keep wondering why are they putting me as this bad mother-in-law, and the socialite kind of
socialite,
thing.
Yes,
socialite.
Yes.
Yeah, the bad person has to be a socialite. I don't understand why, but this whole socialite type of character, yeah. So I used to ask people and they said, no, because, you have that air of, that classiness air or whatever. And so that goes with that whole bitchy.
But did you have a problem with it?
Nah.
No?
It's all in the game of acting. As long as an actor, one makes something different, keeps something different with each role you play, it doesn't matter. So you layer your character in different ways. So with the result, when I played as Suraya Abdullah, who was the bad mother-in-law, who got me most of my fans and most of my, eyeballs per se on TV, when I played her, and she had so many layers of love with this. People loved to hate this mother-in-law. They really loved to hate her because she was classy. She hated the daughters-in-law, but she loved her sons. She loved her husband. There was a beautiful love story between the older couple. That's her and her husband. All of that. The turmoil in her head for having to have given up a baby girl. All of that. It comes out despite her being a negative character. You understand? Whereas till yesterday, literally yesterday, someone came up to me and said, my God, that you're the DCH girl, aren't you? And I'm like, wow. 23 years later, nearly, if you're still calling me DCH girl, that's great. But
yeah, I think
they said, we love that character. I said, see, that's just the thing. You love that character, though she was so irritating to Saif, but they love that character, which is why it depends on how you play it.
Yeah, I guess. But I think it's also your perspective, the way you are talking about it.
Yeah.
It's like you've chosen to also look at the positive in a negative way.
Yeah, absolutely. And for an actor, it's up to you to make something that you're given exciting. Okay, you can do the same thing over and over again and people will lap it up also.
Yeah.
And there are actors who do that and they're same. Like it's like how you speak in a monotone. They are like that in their acting. They don't do anything else. But there have been people like that. But I choose to be slightly different. So what if it's? But it's if you come to think of it, grassroots level. So many other people would be dying to do that.
Exactly. That's a lot of people who say that, like at least I'm fortunate enough.
Fortunate enough to get the opportunity to do it. So who am I to say no? So what if I'm getting a negative character? So I'll make it different.
Yeah.
People are seeing me in the same vein, but I'll make it different.
Yeah, so that's a lot of positive within you. How do you get this positivity? Also, because I know we know the industry is not all rosy all the time.
Yes.
There can be a lot of negativity.
Yes.
So how do you have that kind of positivity?
I kind of, I'm one of those people who always believe in live in the now. Yeah. Don't, jo hua so hua is another one. Jo likha hai, idhar likha hai, that's another one. I live with all of these things literally in every day of my life.
Yeah.
What is meant to be for you will come to you no matter what. In this industry, if you live with that, it really gives you a bit of strength because rejection is huge over here. I mean, to work with that a lot in your career, which you've chosen, it can really take its toll on anybody per se. But if you,
I agree.
Yeah, but if you react to it in a way that, okay, this is meant for somebody else. So who am I to sit and say, I wish I could have done that role? No, it's not meant for you, yaar.
But then how do you motivate yourself?
You motivate yourself by saying, okay, if not this, then something else, something better will come. I always take anything bad that happens or whatever, I always say something worse was to happen, which is why. Yeah. And it really helps me get through life a lot.
I have said that as well. Like in retrospect, when you look back, you're like, oh yeah, this thing happened. That's why I got something better.
Exactly.
It gives me like proof of evidence to help me go back into the future and be like, you know what? Everything happens for the best.
Yeah.
I love that.
I totally believe that. And I really think people should live more by that.
I recently got this opportunity.
Yeah.
Because of all these Instagram reels and all of that, I recently got this opportunity to audition for an ad. And I'm not someone who does that, right?
Okay,
like I'm a mental health coach and then I'm a podcaster and then, make some content on the side, whatever. So when someone's like, oh, your face is really nice on this specific,
Yes.
I was also doing skits in the middle. So like, let's try this ad. So can you send an audition? So I sent an audition. I have not been so nervous about rejection in my whole life. Yeah. And I thought I have dealt with my rejection wound in my 20s. Because let's face it, as women, also we are constantly rejected.
Of course.
Every time. And I was like, my entire therapy, I thought I was dealing with or dealt with it.
Yeah.
I'm also privileged enough to curate my life in a way where I don't have to deal with these kind of rejections, right? I choose those paths.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, suddenly, like this thing opened up and I was like, yeah, chalo, let's do it. And not, like I didn't hear back for a couple of days. And I was like, oh, I know this one heard back. And that just...
That's because, I mean...
it did strike something very weird within me of like, and then I started hearing these very subconscious thoughts which were not mine, which were very societal driven, back in the day in my head is like, oh, maybe she's prettier than you. Maybe, and I don't want to believe any of that.
You don't want to believe in any of that. And that's true. See, when I get exactly what you're saying, because when I started my modeling journey when I was 17 years old, and that time it was a different ball game, modeling, everything we did, it was not your digital era at all. And I was launched, and every time I went to do another ad, I did a lot of TV commercials. I was launched by Sunsilk, and then after that, many ads, TV commercials rather than fashion or ramp. But every ad that I went, straight away, the makeup dada would be putting pancake and panstick and making me look fair and pink and, when I'm this color. This is my color, which I'm proud of even today. But at that time, there was this whole thing. So it may not be rejection, but in a way, it's like, my God, what isn't my skin color good enough? But that, frankly speaking, Aditi, made me work more and more towards like, they don't know what they're talking about. I don't understand why they want this pink thing, this gori chitty look or whatever. But so I was thinking more and more towards the fact that dark is beautiful. Yeah, rather than the other way around. Okay, there's a reason why these people want thing because maybe India at that point was, this all
Not
about
ready, yeah.
was not ready. And then when we came to do, when it came to a few years ago where I did Nandita Das's India's Got Color, where all of us who are nice and, brown and dark are walking around with, our natural color and being very happy about it. It was like, wow, we've come a long way. We really have.
I love
But
that.
saying which, rejection then, not rejection of your color maybe. I was getting the work, yes, but, in terms of looking a certain way, looking a certain type.
Micro rejections.
Yeah,
these
micro
are,
rejections. Yeah, and then, but you've got to deal with it the best way. You got to deal with it. Again, over there, I mean, I was getting the work. I was getting my pocket money. I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
So chalo, let me do it. So whatever, they paint me pink
But
instead of
like,
brown.
did that happen to you while you were growing up? Would they be like, oh, Kali and this
My
and
God,
that?
yes. Oh my God, I was so much darker when I was young, especially that gawky age when I was 11, 12 years old.
Suntan, no
yeah,
hair
yeah,
removal.
because running around in the sun all the
Yeah.
time. And, I had bug teeth. I looked like a rat. I used to keep, and I was thin, scrawny. So that's me. So then I used to ask my mother, Mom, didn't you get scared?
Scared
That
of
this is
you?
No. This is my daughter. What is she going to look like when she grows up? My mother laughs even today. She says, no. I always knew. I said, no, that's a mom talking. Yeah, you must have got scared at some point looking at your daughter saying, oh, is this what she's going to look like? But what's that thing about ugly duckling swan and all? I'm not calling myself a swan, but yeah, I think I did pretty okay without changing much except for my nose, which I changed when I was 17 years old.
I love that you're accepting it.
Of course, because it was giving me a complex. It really was. When I was 17, when I was 15 to 17, I was in junior college. And that was the first time I was interacting with boys and, noticing guys and all, because I was in a convent school before then.
Same.
Yeah. And then, and guy friends who are like buddies, pals and everything like that would be, and I had the same nose, but it was a hook. Yeah, it was a big, like my father's nose. It was just like a hook nose. So, but it was the same, the width, etc. But it was quite a big hook nose. So they would be saying, hey, Popat, kaisi hai? Like that. Literally, and these are buddies, not somebody eve teasing or whatever, but hey, Popat, come sit now, like that. But that started working on my mind. Yeah, because subconsciously. And I would always be like this. This is how I would be talking to people.
Oh my God, there was a point where I felt very conscious about my jawline and I would always do
this.
that.
See? So always I would be, if I was talking to you then, something or the other I would find to fidget with my face so that the attention maybe would be on the fingers rather than my nose. So after the 12th grade, my parents, because I did well, my parents said, Acha, what do you want as a present? I said, I want a nose job. And they're like, hey? So I said, I'll explain to you why I want a nose job, because I feel I'm developing a complex. And if it helps me, then they
How
said,
were
yeah.
you so wise at 17?
What?
How were you so wise
don't
at 17? Or are you like wise now when you're saying
my
it?
friends call me wise. They call me Mate. Yeah, so.
At 17, if you were like, let me sit my parents down and say that, hey,
I told them that. I said, I don't know. I'm just feeling very, very, and it's holding me back. Because I was then also an extrovert person. I had loads of friends, this, that. So why have this one thing, to pull me back?
Yeah.
And they were pretty forward for them to say that, we're talking 1987. Yeah. And they said, okay, come on, then let's, go and find out or whatever for you. And there was this doctor.
Wow.
And I did it and I never looked back after that. The funny thing is, all of those same friends of mine, I swear to God, they didn't see me for 2 weeks thinking I had malaria or something like that. And I never, I never denied it also. There's me going back to college after 2.5, 3 weeks, because that's all it took, that's for healing. And I say, hey, look now. Anything different? They're like, what? You're smiling differently or what? These are the same people who call me Popat. So you wonder on the mental state, what was it that they couldn't see? They couldn't see that it was changed. And I'm like, smile. I said, bloody look. And they're like, oh my God, it's gone. That's why I had to actually tell these guy friends. I said, hey, look na, like this. And they said, oh my God, it's gone. So it would, for a teenager, it affected me at that point. And I'm really glad I did something about it. Post that, I was discovered by Hindustan Lever, HTA, and Hindustan Thompson rather. And they chose me for Sunsilk and they sent me for a photo shoot with Gautam Rajadhyaksh at the time. I did that photo shoot and after that they was just like, wow, no, looking back.
Yeah, that's when your career started.
Yeah, so that's
when
when
you
my,
chose-
when I chose that. I did modeling then and then of course I was doing engineering after that and I could have been in the films then. I was chosen for Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar, Aisha Julka's role, but I said no. I said, but then again, see, it's jiske naseeb mein likha hai. There's no regret till today, except when I hear Pehla Nasha. Pehla
You were like, I could be this.
Like, Ari,
I
that
could
one.
be.
Usne baat ki. That one. So then I feel bad.
It's
but
still in my Spotify liked
yeah. I love that song.
100%.
But otherwise, no. Otherwise, no regrets.
I love that. I love that. I there's a lot of positivity that's coming out of even like a sad, like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
my nose and oh my God, this
Yeah.
is the subconscious
Yeah.
thought. Okay, so if your daughter comes up to you and be like, this is something I want to change, as a mom, how would you deal with that?
If it is, I would definitely not if she's coming to me saying I want to look like Kylie Jenner. You know, yeah, definitely not. But if she were to touch wood, she doesn't need to do anything to her face right now. But
Is that a mother talking?
no. I really think she doesn't. But she has gone and hit her nose when she was little, so it's slightly crooked, but it gives her that little edge. You know, it's like how people have always told me that my scars on my face, which I've kept here, to here, you know, all of that. Leave it. Don't try and do anything. It gives you character.
But is there a lot of pressure generally in like the industry to look a certain way, to not age,
To not age. This not aging thing and all, touch wood, I don't have. I don't really have that that problem because my daughter just dropped me here and somebody found a photograph of me from 1997 and just sent it to me before I left my house. And I was showing her the photo and she says, Mom, you know, how can you look the same? And I was like, wow, that's a chapa. If my daughter can tell me that I was looking the same in 1997 and now.
That's amazing.
So I've had that the lucky genes of thing. But looking a certain way, no. I've never conformed to looking a certain way unless it is the character that they want me to look like, yes. But otherwise,
But
to
there
be
must
part of the
be-
industry, no.
But there must be a lot of like talks around, no? People must be literally
Yes.
worried about how
Oh,
they look.
yeah. Oh, should I do this and should I do that? And I will not touch my face. I mean, that's the only thing I did when I was 17 and I have not touched a needle to my face. I don't intend to. I intend to grow old gracefully. Look at my lovely wrinkles.
I mean, that's also why I've like kept all my grays.
Yeah.
That's my
Beautiful.
way.
I'm fully white.
Yeah.
Not grey. I'm fully white. Okay. But for me, I can't leave it white right now because it will take me forever for it to grow white if I wanted that look. Yeah. And per se. And right now people still don't see me as
The
you know,
white.
that old,
Yeah.
really old person.
Yeah.
So for my roles, etc.
I think like post-COVID, I was like, because I was getting the streak and
yeah.
I had like a little bit of color. So
Yeah.
I was like, let me grow it out. If I grow it
It's
out
nice.
now.
It looks nice with curls.
Yeah, I was like, if I
So
grow it out
cute.
now,
Yeah.
I won't feel bad later. And if I get bored, I'll color it. I don't know. This could be a phase.
It's true.
I don't
It's
know.
true. Yeah.
But that's also,
But
I mean,
it's nice.
that doesn't mean that I won't do something to my face. If I want to, I
Yeah.
probably will.
Yeah.
But this is just my way of being natural, in some
totally,
way.
Totally. Yeah. It counts for something.
But
for
I
sure.
do see a lot of people around that are really, really stressed about how they are being
I
perceived.
should do this and I should do that and I should do, oh, you think I should fill my lips? And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys, man? You know,
I spend a
And
lot
these are beautiful women. But
talking about the roles, like how do you deal with playing a very
because
heavy
there
character?
there have been heavy characters that I have played, which if I were to take them home, God help the people at home. If I were to take my scary characters home, my husband has not even watched my scary movies or series like Betal or where I get possessed and turn grey overnight and and I don't do, it's not that type of scariness.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Oh my God. Can we zoom in?
It's literally, it's just the look of, and she's just normally talking and then suddenly it's God. And that, and then she makes this noise, this character just with a smile and you're like, oh no. So had I done that at home, can you imagine what would happen? But the jokes set aside, there are heavy characters that one plays, like say in Dance Like a Man, which I've been doing for 28 years and it could have affected me if I was doing this play all the time. And it's a character which is not like me at all. This the character of Ratna, the mother. I play a double role, the mother and the daughter. But this whole really cutthroat, jealous of the daughter type of character, and that is not me. So can you imagine if some bits of that, characteristics of that person had stayed with me after all these years, especially, it would really put me in a bad situation, and my family as well. This whole thing of switching off and switching on, method actors, I think, might have a bit of more of a problem with that switch on, switch off, where you want to stay in that character. If you're shooting a movie for 1 month, and you're playing a drunkard, method, chalo, I'll have a drink today also, that type of thing. When method, if you're being this really angry Kabir Singh type of a character, that type of character. Imagine being that every single day if you're shooting for 30 days and going back home also and just, no, I want to stay in my because you're waking up and going at 5 a.m. to play the same character. That wouldn't work, right? So which is why for me, this whole switch on, switch off thing is what works for me.
But how do you switch on, switch off?
I don't know. It's, darling, it's just me being an actor. No, it's, I think I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
Where as soon as the director explains to me what he wants, I'm able to jump right into it.
Yeah.
Whether it's stage or whether it's television or film, I'm able to jump right into it. The only time, because I don't use glycerine to cry or anything like that, when I do have scenes on film or in my TV shows, etc., theater, I can cry like this. I mean, on the spot, 700 shows
Wow.
of the climax, I have cried. Yeah, as in broken down and cried while talking dialogue.
Do you need to think of something, or?
That's a process, yes. Sometimes to get into the space just for a fleeting moment. But you don't think of anything else, because if you think of anything else, you're losing your character. You're thinking of Suchi, thinking of somebody else.
Yeah.
You understand? Whereas, for the example, when I'm doing this play, the biggest compliment for me was when somebody who knows me really well, she came up to me in London and she told me, she said, I've seen this play twice and I didn't see an ounce of you in that character. And I was like, wow, thank you. Similarly, autobiography. I mean, this may sound like, I'm blowing my own trumpet, but it really means a lot to me. That means I've given it my all, and there is that, it's showing. My daughter came to see autobiography and she's 17. And I said, what do you think? She said, Mom, I was looking at you. I didn't see Mom at all.
Wow.
It's like, now that's what makes it all worthwhile, right?
Yeah.
So when you lose yourself in that character, you become that person, but you become that person for that much time. And that's what really, it's all mind over matter, frankly speaking, because then because after the breakdown in Dance Like a Man, in about 45 seconds, well, maybe a minute, I have to come back on fully and do a dance performance smiling. After I've broken down and I'm like that, and I have to go quickly off, put on the gungurus, come back on, do the thing and do the final dance performance smiling. So you have to know how to switch on and switch off. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. I love it. I love my job.
But is there anything else that you do at home to decompress from it?
Yeah, it would probably be, watching some nice music videos or something like that. Music always takes me to different places. Either, goes this way, that way, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to remain sad, you listen to all your breakup songs. But if you want to become happy, there are a few friends of mine who are sure shots.
The support system?
My support system, my girlfriends, sure shot. One of them especially is Manini De. The two of us, I mean, we just have to call each other. Or Sagarika, who used to be a singer, Sagarika Mukherjee, DeCosta now. But both of us, nobody understands also. Actually, all of my girlfriends, we all have that thing. Pallavi Simmons, Dia, Abraham, Sandhya Mridul, all of us, we have this whole thing of calling up and then we just burst out laughing. But Manini and me, for sure. For sure. We just call each other and say, guess what I thought about this? I start laughing.
Then once that laughter comes in, that's so healing.
Yeah. It's like that meme that you're laughing without the sound coming and then you hit somebody, she then falls down, but you're still laughing. It's one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's one of those. And it's great to be in a space like that. And if you have that for all your stages in life, that's a big, big plus point.
I actually do believe this. I tell a lot of my clients that as a woman, female
Yeah.
friendships is one of the most healing things
Absolutely.
ever.
Absolutely.
You have to take this on. You have to like put in the effort, because a lot of times growing up, we've been told that people will take advantage of
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
So keep your distance. What do they want from you?
Exactly.
So you tend to keep everybody at like an arm's distance.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? We're not
Yeah.
very trusting as a nation generally.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
what do you want? What is your end goal? Why do you want to be my friend?
Yeah, I've been the opposite of that. So one has gotten hurt also quite a bit, but I'm very, very trusting, too trusting. Yeah. So I'm there. My whole heart is open, and I'm there. Everything straight away. And have been taken advantage of, and that hurts. That definitely hurts. In friendships. But you live and learn a little every day. Yeah.
But how do you like trust again when your trust has been broken?
Live and learn.
It's just like,
Yeah. It's like love also, isn't it? I mean, you love and then you lose, and you love and you lose, and you love and you lose. But the fact that you're able to love again, that stands for something. So love again.
yeah. So that's why you trust again.
That's why I trust again. Yeah.
But that's actually like similar to my thing about, we were talking about like switching on and switching off, right?
Yeah.
For you for like roles.
Yes.
For me, it's like even with my clients,
Yeah.
I sometimes I just tell myself that, because I do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
I do it like
Online. Yeah.
virtually. So when I shut the laptop, I'm just like, now it's done.
It's done.
Right? Now I
You
don't.
cannot be in somebody else's problem, and you cannot be in somebody else's life for
Yeah.
only that much. It's the same thing working on a character, right? You're
Yeah.
playing that person's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you're in reality actually helping somebody
Yeah.
else. There you're just playing a character and being given this chance of playing somebody else, which you couldn't be ever in your own life. Yeah. Maybe you're not like that at all. So there could be some characteristics in certain roles that I play which are like me. There are some which are just not like me at all. But it's there in my subconscious somewhere and it's coming out. So that makes it so interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
But chalo, I gave her that much time. That character. I gave her that much time. Now, enough. Let me get back.
That's so
to
interesting.
reality,
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
works.
but whatever you're saying, it sounds a lot like you have to stay grounded.
Yeah. Oh my God. That in my industry, especially, I
Yeah.
mean, in our industry, whatever, it's
You
a
have
biggie.
to be grounded.
It's a biggie.
But what if you get that fame and like I'm sure you've seen people like they've taken the fame
Oh
to
my
the
God.
head.
Oh.
What?
I'm number one.
Yeah. And
Sorry, who died and made you number one? Yeah, no, but yeah, I'm number one and you are just a wannabe. Someone told me
Oh.
that. So I think a certain amount of humility
yeah.
is very, very necessary. Ego needs to be kept aside because it is your downfall.
Very easy said, about the ego thing. A lot of people start to build a
Oh my
much
God.
bigger ego
I've
than
seen
they
people,
really
they
deserve.
Don't go on, they don't even give people a photograph or an autograph. And these are not A-listers. I think A-listers, of course, if they've got 7,000 people every day saying photo, they can't do it.
Yeah.
But somebody in my category of actors who's not A-lister, who's a character artist up to now, I've got some good roles and everything, but up to now, I don't mind saying character artist, a supporting artist in various movies or everything else that I've done. To be known as that,
And then
also-
reject all the...
yeah, is just like so what I mean, they love what I've done. They're coming to me saying, wow, your role made a difference to my life. People have come to me and said that.
love
In the London Underground, someone has come to me and told
Also,
me.
by the way, our story about London.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but I was shopping. Can I say where we
Yeah,
were shopping?
please.
Okay, so I was in Primark in the lingerie section, and I'm just like, oh my God, she seems Indian. I only saw the back.
Yeah.
And I was like, I tapped you and I was like, oh my God, where is this underwear from?
Yeah.
And then when you spoke to me, I was like, I know you. And then you were like, hi, Suchitra. And then we were both discussing
Yeah.
underwear. Primark, London.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to know
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah.
I know, how strange. No?
How strange.
How strange.
And literally
seriously.
when we picked up when I picked
Yeah.
up the call, I was like, at least we're not in London shopping for
Shopping for
lingerie.
underwear.
love
But yeah,
it.
to be approachable, to be somebody that you can talk to, that counts for a hell of a lot more than
The
saying,
ego?
oh, yeah.
But wouldn't like really high inflated ego put someone again to isolation and loneliness?
it would.
Yeah.
It would. So I always say, it's people have heard this. I mean, it's very high at the top. Whatever line of work you are in, it's always essential to take people with you along the way.
Yeah.
Okay, they may not have the luck or the talent where you are up there. Yeah, but take them along the way, because when you fall, they're still there with thanks and gratefulness to help you, as opposed to having left them down there, and that's you going all the way down.
That's such a
Yeah,
beautiful
so just
analogy.
and you never know. You may, if you've got the gumption, if you've got the talent, and if you've got the drive, and you want to get up there, yes, get up there. But take these people along with you, because there is place for everyone. Today I'm sitting in this chair. This is my space right now.
Yeah.
There is nobody else right now who has this space. It is my space. Appreciate it, enjoy it, love it for this moment. When I walk out of the studio, it's somebody else's space.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for this moment, this is my space, and appreciate the space that you are in at that point of time is what I feel.
And exactly why I say that when people are like pushed towards like a high inflated ego, when they start to feel lonely, they don't, as you said, they don't have anybody besides them to hold them and help them.
Yeah.
That loneliness makes you do really weird and
things.
crazy things at this point.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like loneliness is like a massive epidemic right now, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is so isolated, even when you're in the same room and on your phone. And I think that's also a little bit of your character in the Valley, right? You all were surrounded with gadgets, but emotionally distant.
Yeah. In the Valley, it was this, this family wherein the husband is so totally into his Silicon Valley job. The mother is this a woman socialite again. In San Francisco, who goes for her tennis class, having an affair with her tennis coach, not really bothered about the daughter. The elder daughter is studying to be a doctor, so she's somewhere else. The younger daughter is 16. And so the mother is not so much part of her life or whatever, doesn't really take the time to listen to her. And the poor girl commits suicide because she doesn't have anybody. And then we all start wondering what the hell happened. So, so for that particular, to play that role was quite something. When you lose a child, and at that point when I already had a daughter, etc. So, it takes
must have hit some different
some raw nerves, But I've seen it also when you're talking about teenage depression. I've seen it, may not be teenage, but I've seen it with co-actors of mine on set, whom I have tried to help, or whom I have been there for, while they come to work for things, and they know that they are going through a certain ABC type of a scenario, and they can't help it. But today is a low day. What am I going to do? And we're not talking about somebody who's under the influence of drugs other than the ones his doctor has given him to take, for his mental health or mental illness. So he's accepted that this is a problem, and I'm going through this, but there have been some down days. And how do you explain it to the AD? He's going, ma'am, shot ready, ma'am, and this poor child is sitting there, in my van saying, I can't do it right now. And he's supposed to go and do a scene. Yeah. And so then one has to go talk to the director. I've done this because you have to take the time to see somebody, what they're going through. It's a shoot, God damn it. It's just wait 10 minutes, wait 1 hour if he has to relax and go to sleep for a little while and switch out of the whole thing. He didn't know that he's going to go through this right now when he came for the shoot, or he was in a space when he came to the shoot, but he couldn't cancel a whole shoot because he has to be there. Appreciate that at least. Don't give him that little space or whatever. So that's how one would try and make, make people understand.
But you have to, at least for me, I'm like, I'll still take the side of someone who's going through it. I'm still going to believe it.
Yeah, without
you could be faking it. I'm still going to believe it.
Without a doubt, absolutely.
Not going to take that risk.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree totally.
Yeah. But, how do you go through that when the whole suicide thing happened in Valley?
In Valley.
How do you deal with that? Like, what was the nerve that it touched? It touched some raw nerve.
Yeah, it touches. So that's when coming back to when you said, do you think of something on stage? Yeah, to bring out that emotion, to get into the character in the beginning of when you're touching, a character per se in your head. You use things like this. Yeah, you put yourself in a real scenario where something like this happened. And that's when you get a bit of a shake and you say, damn, And you get that and you hold on to that emotion, and that brings out, whether it brings out the tears or whether it brings out the way you're feeling, you hold on to that and you say, okay, I'm going to use that now when I do the scene.
My God.
Yeah.
Sounds heavy.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah,
it can be
it
if you
can
don't
be.
use that switch on, switch off process. But so for me, it was a time when my own daughter, I was shooting Valley, when my own daughter was about 10, 11 years old. So at that point, yeah, just to even think for half a second of losing her,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's the same way in Dance Like a Man as well, the play.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's not like
It's
not easy. Yeah.
it's not easy.
And talking about being a mum, was it really tough to like switch from Suchitra to Suchitra the mother?
I think I was ready. You know, I had
Yeah.
I had already been through marriage and a divorce before. I didn't have kids from that marriage, and then it came at the right time. I got remarried when I was 35, and I got pregnant when I was 37, so which was still old compared to a lot of my
Really?
friends. Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, I don't know, man. I'm like 35.
Yeah, no. So no, for me also it was like 37. Or yeah, you still not had a baby, and I was planning to wait
But
another
is
year.
that something you wanted? You wanted. You didn't do it
Wanted. My
anything out of
God,
pressure.
I wanted since
Yeah.
the time I was 30. But when I was 30, I was divorced at
Yeah.
that time. I was not in any serious relationship. So when it happened, I was just like, why tempt fate? Test fate rather. Let's just do it now. 1 year earlier. So what? It was 2 years after we got married, me and Lars. And
But like sometimes when you look in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself, like I've seen this especially with women after they deliver.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not me.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at
because your
myself.
whole identity changes, right? It becomes about that other person. It becomes about that other little one. You have to be so ready. You have to be so ready, because it's the most selfless thing in the world to have a baby. Selflessness is the biggest quality that may be thrust upon someone, or that you open your arms and you say, from now on, nothing else except this human being which I have created matters. Nothing else. No job, no working with Brad Pitt, no going to America, no standing on a red carpet. Nothing matters except this one and this one's well-being. And to reach that point, for a lot of people, can be a lot of problems. Which is why, like say the character I play in Dance Like a Man, Ratna, where she's jealous of the thing because she thinks she didn't reach her peak of her career. And then this daughter came. Now the daughter's getting more famous than her, and all of that, going on in the mind. But for me, I think when Anika came, no doubt, the best thing in my life that has happened.
But when you go back to work, is there any mom guilt? Was there any mom guilt?
Loads.
How do you deal with
Lots.
mom
I mean,
guilt?
my first job was when she was 1.5 months old. I had to go to Mauritius while I was still breastfeeding, and to go, and I'm in bloody Mauritius, and my daughter's here in Bombay with my husband, and me pumping out. Imagine going 1.5, and I was shooting a travel show, and I'd go and we're shooting on a beach, talking. I say, sorry guys, everyone are, and I'd go run to the hotel room and pump out the milk and throw it. And that was, it was heartbreaking to throw. I don't know why that stuck in my head 17 years later, to throw out that milk, rather than keeping it in the fridge which she could use or whatever, and go running back onto the set. So there was a lot of guilt. But I mean, I'm so happy and so lucky in that Lars, my husband, was the rock during
So
that
your
time.
partner needs to.
Oh, he's been really brilliant. And that has made my daughter into a very confident human being, that she always had one parent there with her and not a nanny. We had a girl staying with us or whatever, but it was always a parent. It was either him.
Parent
or
was the
me.
primary. Yeah.
Never left both of us away. Never. One person was there.
So no
Always.
abandonment and all that comes in.
So, and that brings so much of confidence in that child, that you can deal with anything after that. When you know that these people have been there like two rocks with you. So he was very, very helpful. But yes, guilt, I still go through it.
Really?
I still go through it. Am I
Like
spending
what?
enough time? Am I, because I have worked, I have been working. She's seen that I have been working a lot. But when I see her, now when I see her come to watch something of mine, and she comes up and she says, Mom, I'm so proud of you. You
And-
understand that she understood why I need to do this. I see that now that she knows why I had to do it. That it made me, and she doesn't hold that against me at all ever. She never did.
Does that give her the confidence to do and achieve more
Totally.
or like similar?
Totally. So much so that this child didn't want to leave. She's finished her 12th standard. She didn't want to leave India. Unlike so many of her friends or whatever, she didn't want to leave. She wanted to be here. So no, I want to be with you guys as much as I can be until life says otherwise, and I have to move out or whatever. But no, otherwise,
That's
life-
amazing.
Yes.
Like, would you suggest like motherhood to everyone?
I would.
Yeah?
No doubt.
You would-
To everyone who wants it.
Yeah, I was just gonna be like,
To everyone who wants it, do whatever you can to
Yeah?
make yourself a mother. To everyone who wants it.
yeah,
To those who don't, nobody is there to force you.
yeah.
It is
Because
your-
a lot
it
of
is your-
people
a lot
still
of
think
people-
that
no,
we-
I've got those friends who even were of the thought process of I want a child first, and maybe now with a partner who doesn't, been with them, for a while, and their mindset has changed, and that's okay too. That's okay too. It is not being selfish. It is not, because I told you, you become selfless. It becomes all about that child.
That's
you are
why.
not important. You are not important. But that still doesn't mean that the people who have chosen not to have children are selfish people and they only want to live their. It's just their psyche, yeah. Their life. Let them live it.
Yeah. Because I don't think everybody has it in them. I don't believe that all women have it in them.
I don't think so too.
And I don't think it's a bad thing as well.
It's not a bad thing either.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
And I think the fact that you can make a choice, be like, I want this, makes it even more special.
Our day and age, thank God for that.
Yeah.
As opposed to, centuries ago where you were a baby making machine and that was it.
Yeah, you were only viewed as that.
True that.
You get
Yeah.
married to have children.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then even arranged marriages to a point is somewhat about that as well, where the man goes and goes out and provides, and then the wife is like producing children.
Thank God I'm from a matriarchal society. I'm Malayali. And that's why me working, through the times also when maybe Lars was still finding his feet, he's Danish, and finding his feet in India, and I was working, meant no problem for us.
Yeah.
Because it was women power, and you do what you can as a unit for that much time, and it's totally okay.
But do you see patriarchy, especially in the industry? What's
Yes.
the worst that you were like, this is not okay? Something that
When
comes to you.
I asked somebody, I said, "Yaar, why do I get all these small roles? Arey yaar, Suchi tu soti nahi hai na, isliye." Straight to my face, "Arey yaar, Suchi tu soti nahi hai na, isliye." So I was like, okay, fine, thank you so much for letting me know why. But as a joke which had an underlying undertone. Yeah, so
It's not really a joke. It's just a joke because they wanted to say
they
it.
wanted to say it, and I said, "Oh, that's fine. It's not me. It's not me at all, and never will."
the
be.
fuck?
Another another funny one. How I dealt with it. Somebody from the south told me, Madam, there is a movie, Madam. Very big actor, very big director, Madam. You play the actor's sister, Madam. Very nice role, Madam. But Madam, only one thing is there, Madam. The producer, new producer, so little compromise is needed. So I said, sorry? No, Madam. See, producer, no, Madam. So, new producer, Madam. The actor's fine, Madam. Director also fine, Madam. Good role, Madam. But the producer, compromise is needed. So I said, do you know who you're talking to? I've been in this industry for 20 odd years at that point. Madam, I understand. One time only, no, Madam. I swear to God.
What the fuck is happening here?
One time only, no, Madam. So I was like, no. Not one time and not half time only, no, Madam. So those were my
No
two-
time.
Yeah, no time at all. Sorry. So yeah, that happened.
Shut up.
Yeah, that happened on the phone.
Crazy.
That happened on the phone, yeah. But yeah, I had a laugh about it. I laughed about it. Just call other people. It's okay.
They'll have time for
Yeah.
it.
One time or two time.
Dude, but
Yeah.
okay, this wouldn't happen if it was a man.
Poor things, actually. Some of them go through that also, no? Some newcomers have to pander to the fancies of a lot of people. It happens. It happens. It's there. But
What about pay?
That one is still, frankly, still, at least my strata of actors, still battling.
No
Which is why
equal pay.
OTT, thank God, came into play, and it's pays you much better than regular TV serials, etc. Which is why all of us are kind of wanting to work in the OTT space. So it's value for the time that you give, but it's still
Yeah.
it's still got to reach that point where you're just happy, where you just say, "This is how much I charge," and you get it.
Yeah.
When I've worked in 4 Hollywood projects. It's the beauty of that is they come to you saying, "Are you okay with ABC?" And that ABC is about 5 lakhs more than what you would have got over here. Like, okay, yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh,
I
you know,
love
when you
that.
know your worth, you're given your worth.
I
Then,
love that.
like, damn, I don't even have to discuss. I don't have to do any dilly dallying. And yeah, if not this, then there's none of that.
But yeah, I like in my industry, I also feel like as a woman, if today I'm talking about like divorce, or today we are talking about
Yeah.
equal pay or whatever reel gets cut and goes up. If I'm talking about this, people are not judging the topic. People are judging me. Like, how can Aditi be talking about divorce?
Yeah.
When a man is sitting and talking about like relationships or divorce or like, tougher topics, they're actually listening to the topic. So I feel like that's, and it's so painful. Every time I put up like a real hard hitting reel, the viral ones which they say,
Yes.
all the comments are about me. How does she know? She must have like divorced her husband, not even married.
Yeah.
She must have aborted children.
Yeah.
She must have done this. She must have kicked her parents out. Like, it's always about me and not really about the topic. And I'm just like, as a podcaster also, it's really sad that women podcasters, they will trash talk the woman.
Yeah.
But with men, they'll still listen to the topic.
True that.
And
So yeah, that's there. That's there.
the patriarchy there is a little...
Most definitely is there. But then again, you stay strong and you be...
And a lot of them, when I do put up some patriarchal reels, like anti-patriarchy reels, they will always think that I hate men. And it's just like, dude, there's a very big difference here.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I have collaborated with a man.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
a man in my life. My father's a man. My friends are men.
Yeah.
Like, that's how like
Archaic
stupid
thoughts.
yeah, that's how stupid people are. So it's like, no, because there's patriarchy doesn't mean that we don't like men. So does that ever happen to you at any point when you stand up for...
Of course it happens to, it happens to the best of us. Because opinions,
Yeah.
a woman's opinion, for them to come around to actually accepting a woman's opinion, it takes a lot more time rather than them accepting a man's opinion. Jo bola is supposed to be, the God's truth. Whereas a woman has to convince.
A woman has to really like go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Like, I even say that with work. Like, work was not really like the working culture was not really designed for women. Right? Like, forget the 9 to 5 also. Even like with artists or whatever. It was not meant for us first. It was like for men. Then obviously like you want financial independence. You want to like prove, you have to like take care of yourself. There's a lot of other structures that have come into place and you're just like, hey, I'm going to work. Like, I need to take care of myself.
But when you think about it, who was doing all of the major work? Even in the caveman days, they would go and, bloody bring the animal. But who was cooking it and cleaning it, you know?
So no, that work is like not considered work. When
Work,
I'm saying
work.
work,
Correct.
I'm talking about like
Actual
which
work.
gives you money.
Career.
Yeah, which gives you like a barter of money.
Yeah.
Women were not like designed for that, right? So now when we're going, we have to literally till date. We're in 2025. Till date, we have to like go the extra mile. Like, hey, please take us seriously. Please listen to me. How do I stroke your ego? It's
in my industry too, it's not about stroking ego, but it's actually cancelling of ego. For me, even today, it's an insecure business that I'm in, right? And you have to have your finger in many pies, which is why I have I'm a compere, I'm a dubbing artist, I'm a singer.
You're doing a lot, huh?
I do theater, I do all I'm a VJ still for B4U. I do loads of things so that if this is not there, that is there. That's not there, that is there. So I lost my train of thought. Menopause, brain fog. Actually.
No, you were saying that you do a lot.
See, I told you I completely lost where I was going to tell you.
We were talking about
it's
like
true,
stroking
menopause
someone.
brain happens.
We were talking about stroking ego, and you were like, it happens in your industry too, but you've been doing a lot of these things.
No, it's about cancellation of ego, right? Or something I was talking about cancellation. It'll come back to me at some point, maybe next year.
Maybe, and we'll bring her back.
We'll bring I swear I was going to tell you something really profound. And it went out of my head.
It's cool. We're out of time anyway.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
No, my pleasure entirely.
I'm so glad I bumped into you in London.
Choosing underwear. Yeah.
Choosing underwear. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.